Hello, this is going to be a quick overview of the civil due diligence checklist that we use. All the engineers in my office use this checklist when they do initial site due diligence. I'm going to run through this quickly. The first thing you'll notice is I've kind of broken things out into about 8 different areas. They don't have numbers. You don't do these in order. The main reason for that is when you find the resources you go to get information are going to have vital stuff that you're going to need in several different categories at a time. So you just fill in what you need to fill in when you're at that resource, and you don't do it in order. What we typically do, and you'll see it on our due diligence reports that we do, you'll be getting one of those for free as well, is we kind of have a separate box called main issues outstanding, and we put anything that comes up that we either can't get the information to, or it's just it's a known problem. We put that in there at the front of the reports that we do. Okay, you're going to start off with your basic site data. This is, where is it located in a city, a county, what jurisdiction, the size, what roads it's on, frontage, vacant, and any known issues you can put in here or put in here. I'll run right on straight to the legal information. Just pan down here and see this. These are the guidelines and codes that you have to meet when you're developing a property. So you're going to want to know what the zoning is, what's the land use. You're also going to want to look at signage. Even if it's a residential development, you're going to want to know what the signage issues are for, say, a monument sign for a subdivision and things like that. If there's any known easements, restrictions, or other potential opportunities you have for development, we try to find these out at this point. Landscaping requirements. Those can really determine how your site looks and what's the capacity of it, so you want to get these up front. Parking and traffic requirements, depending on whether you're building a bank, a restaurant, single-family homes, you're going to have certain parking criteria that you need to meet, and you're also going to have some traffic issues that you need to show as well. We get those right up front. Setbacks are in our development code requirements that you'll need to put in, and any height restrictions and any architectural requirements if you're in a special section of the city or county that has those kind of requirements. Once you get that basic information, you can start working on a conceptual layout. We explain in other videos the best way to do that, the quickest way to do that, to see what your site's capacity is. But quickly going through, you want to lay out the site boundary, then you want to put in your non-buildable areas and make sure those are marked off. Then you want to estimate any stormwater treatment areas that you'll need. The next step you might think would be to put in your building, but generally that's not the best way to do it. The best thing to do is to go with parking after that, and your driveways and any traffic restrictions, traffic level requirements you'll have. At that point you want to start putting in the building footprint, and that will help you see how big of a building, how much square footage you can get, how many units, and that's one of the reasons why it's not done first. Other things that go into the conceptual layout is solid waste, where your dumpsters go, and can the dumpster trucks actually get into the site, get your trash, and move out. You'd be surprised how many restrictions fall into that. Where you actually put the signage that you're going to have on your site, make sure you have those locations up front. That's not something you want to be figuring out after you're already out there constructing, which I've seen happen. And then ADA access. Most areas require that you have some kind of ADA accessible access to the right-of-way. Make sure you have that. From there we go to site connections, which include your driveway locations, water availability. Some places actually fire is separate, in most places it's not. Your sewer availability. Stormwater outfall. That means when it rains on your site, where does that stormwater leave the site? You need to know where that is, and then know where it's going to be in the proposed condition if it's going to be different. And your criteria that you have to meet is going to really depend on that, so you need to be aware of that up front. You may want gas to your site, so figure that out now. And obviously electric. Is it underground? Overhead? Is it available at all? From there, and like I said, these aren't in any order because you do them at varying times. We're going to start laying out our financial information. That includes all permitting fees. Typically these aren't major costs to the project, but we like to know them up front. Impact fees can be major costs. You'd be surprised how much they vary from city to city or county to county, so you want to get those known right away, and they can be extensive. You'd be, like I said, you'd be surprised. From there, once you have your concept and you've really got some quantities of how big your parking lot's going to be, how big your building's going to be, those things, you can start putting together a real construction cost estimate. Another thing we have in our due diligence reports is a site concurrency section where we talk about traffic concurrency, water concurrency, sewer concurrency, if a traffic study is required to meet concurrency. If you don't know what concurrency is, we explain it in other videos. Moving on, our due diligence reports usually talk about the site permitting information and what we expect, what kind of permits are going to be required to develop the site. Just looking at the site and not the building, here's a list of quite a few. Typically site plan permits. You could have separate traffic and driveway connection permits. Like I said, stormwater permits, and you could have city as well as district stormwater permits, and even state regulated. So you could do stormwater is such a big issue that you could be doing it more than once, permitting wise. Water and sewer, MPDES, that's actually a during construction permit to make sure you don't have hazardous materials or just dirt and erosion occurring on your site and those materials leaving the site in stormwater. Parcel reclassification, if you're going to change zoning or maybe annex or do other things, you need to be aware of the process that's involved with that, and we lay that out. And then if you're in a redevelopment district or an architectural review board has some quasi-judicial overview of your site, you need to be aware of that and know what kind of steps you're going to need to take to get through permitting. Other possible permits, development of regional impact if it's a large site, or even if you're a small site that's in an area that has previously done a DRI, you need to be aware of that. Any comp plan amendments, as I mentioned, annexation, if it's on the coast, maybe a coastal commission permit will be required. Just want to lay all that out in your initial due diligence report. From there, we go to the site's physical information. That's your surveys, your geotech, your phase 1 environmental, and your wetland and endangered species. A lot of this information you can get before you hire your surveyor, your geotech, your phase 1 environmental guys, and your environmental guys. But these are the kind of things that you're going to want to be getting in your initial due diligence, and then once you make your go-no-go decision and hire these guys, these are more of this and more details, the kind of things you're going to want to get. I'll go through more of that, like I said, in other videos, but this is just a general overview. And let me back up here and let's just see all of it again. Oh, sorry about that. Like I said, this is just a general overview, and then download the checklist, go through it, and then find more information on our site at propertydevelopmentsource.com. Thanks.